The Mamba mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind. I am the difference maker. I am the game changer.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the Game Changer Show. Malik Wright, CEO of the Right Way Sports Network, joined with my co-host, Cody. Cody, how's it going, my man?
Look, this is one of my favorite weeks in the calendar year from a sports standpoint. We have NFL free agency that is popping off. We are diving right back into the NBA after the All-Star break. We have March Madness is beginning this week. I mean, we have everything. It's sports nirvana. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I am excited because we have a ton to talk about. I mean, how can you? Twitter's popping off because everybody's wondering who's going where. Selection Sunday was wild with seating and everything. It's great.
Yeah, this time of year is always stressful for me, but it's also the most exciting, it's the most exhilarating year for me because obviously NFL free agency is going on. Us handling things here at the Right Way Sports Network, we're always trying to be first up when it comes to news and making sure we report the factual information. That being said, for those of you who, for the 67 or somewhat 70 people that are watching this right now, Cody and I are both Bengals fans, but this show, we cover every single sport. Cody, you want to start off with the NFL free agency?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there have been some big names signed. We've had some big names that we're still waiting on. Hopefully Kenny Galladay ends up in the Bengals uniform.
Stripes,
we'll see.
But it's funny. Let's actually talk about that for a second, right? I know a lot of people are watching for the Kenny Galladay. It was interesting. I knew that information closer to noon today. I was like, what? He was like, Kenny Galladay is interested in the Bengals. He apparently wanted to come to Cincinnati, not the other way around. It's not like Cincinnati, went out and said, hey, we want you. I'm sure they did. They wanted him, but they probably thought he was out of range for them. And his exact words, as it was spoken to me, I want to play with Joe Burrow. That is why. I want to play with Joe Burrow. So that all being said, you've got to wonder, right? Let's weigh the pros and cons, right? What is the pros to Kenny Galladay joining the New York Football Giants, which is rumored to be a team that is heavily, in the lead to land him, versus the Cincinnati Bengals? I broke it down on Twitter. I said, okay, well, would you rather have Joe Burrow as your quarterback, or would you rather have Daniel Jones? Would you rather stay in the Midwest, or would you rather move to the East Coast? Would you rather cash in next year, right, knowing that it's a suppressed wide receiver market, or would you rather just take to sign a multi-year contract with the New York Football Giants and probably not get what your contract value is? It's totally up to you. The choice is yours. And the Giants are also concerned, apparently, from reports that we saw about his hip. These are all questions that are coming up. When you look at a team like the Bengals, they already have an offer on the table for him. Granted, it's a one-year deal. Something that you were interested in, but it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Would Kenny Galladay, in fact, actually choose the Cincinnati Bengals over the New York Football Giants? If you ask me, I think the Bengals have a lot more to be desired than the New York Football Giants. What are your thoughts, Cody?
I think if we're going to look at it from a football standpoint, I think the Bengals offensively are going to be a better team than the Giants this year if they can get that line fixed. We still have a lot of time in free agency. We still have, the draft coming up. But I like what the Bengals do offensively from a schematic standpoint over what Jason Garrett does in New York. I know a lot of New York Giants fans are really frustrated with his play calling and the fact that they even brought him back this year. And another thing that really has to be taken into effect is Joe Burrow. I mean, he has been raved about not only by fans and the media and everything, but he's been raved about by players, not only on his own team, but on other teams, right? They say this guy's a winner. This guy has it, right? And that's something that is, as a fan of the Bengals, is really encouraging. But you want to play with a guy like that. You want to play with a guy who has the it factor, because not many people in the NFL do. And it's the difference between good and great. I think that Kenny Galladay would be an absolutely great fit across from T. Higgins. He doesn't have to be the only man. He's not a one-man band, right? He doesn't have to carry the entire passing load on his shoulders, but he also still gets the opportunity to be the number one target. So I think he gets the best of both worlds there, where you get the opportunity to be a number one if it's a 1-year deal, you should get a ton of targets and prove that if he wants to prove that he's one of the best wide receivers in the game.
Kenny Galladay comes to the Bengals, he's instantly the Bengals' number one receiver. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yep.
He is. No, he's instantly the Bengals' number one wide receiver. Then you have T. Higgins next to you, right? T. Higgins is a number two, but he can also play like a borderline number one if called upon, right? I mean, these are very real things right here, guys. And I think it's something that we're not talking about enough. Everyone's blowing it off like, it's the Bengals. Who wants to play for the Cincinnati, the Cardiac Cats, the Bungles, a lot of things that I'm saying. But you guys got to understand, when you have a franchise quarterback, when you have a transcendent talent, a guy like Joe Burrow or a guy like Kyler Murray or a guy, it doesn't matter. You insert whatever quarterback you want to insert. When you have an elite player at the quarterback position, good players, great players want to play with great players. That's what it is, right? It does not matter. Great players want to play with great players, no matter the cost. That is what we're seeing right now. That is what we're seeing all around. It's the reason why, albeit it's AJ Green, a lot older AJ Green, but that's the reason why AJ Green is aligning himself with the Arizona Cardinals, right? With Nuke. Yep. So many different, players are doing this as well. Sean, we love Sean. Sean's our one of our analysts here at TWSN. Sean's a big Giants fan. Sean, we are literally did you ever watch Game of Thrones, Cody? You ever seen Game of Thrones? I'm a big Game of Thrones guy, right? And you know the scene where it's the Battle of the Bastards. You got Jon Snow going against Bolton, the guy Bolton.
Absolute chaos.
That is what we're looking at right now. It's literally Cincinnati fans and New York fans going at each other's heads on Twitter. And I'm here to everybody keeps asking me, Malik, what do you think the odds are that the Bengals land Kenny Galladay? I'll say it. I think the Bengals are favored to land Kenny Galladay. I think they are. I'm sorry. I know no one wants to hear it. I think the Giants, I think that they're gonna put themselves in a position they don't want to be in. I'll put it that way. I'll say that nicely.
One thing I hate about, and this goes for every New York team, and nothing on the city of New York, awesome. But everybody's, the New York market. The New York market is awesome. The New York market is huge. New York media is crazy. Everybody wants to go to New York. That's not for everybody, right? Yep. Kenny Galladay went to high school in Chicago, Midwest kid. Maybe he doesn't feel like going to New York. It's not for everybody. So if he's able to stick at Cincinnati, and if he finds something that he likes there, I think it's an opportunity that has a much greater chance of happening than what people are giving credit to right now. I think they're like, by no means do I think it's an absolute, surefire lock, book it. You might as well start buying your Kenny Galladay Bengals jerseys now. But I think there's a good chance. And I think it's certainly better than what, a lot of the NFL fans are dismissed. It's Bengals. It's the Bengals. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
I feel really good about it. I personally feel good about Kenny Galladay landing in Cincinnati. And if I'm wrong, it wouldn't be the first, not going to be the last. Yes, thank you so much. If Kenny Galladay signs with the Cincinnati Bengals, I just want a key to the city, guys. I'm moving to Cincinnati next summer. Just give me the key to the city already. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Better yet, just give me a lifetime supply of Eli's Barbecue. Eli's Barbecue, the best barbecue joint in Cincinnati, Ohio. No, we are not affiliates with them. No, we are not smart, but it's one of my favorite restaurants personally to go to. So the hell with it. Yeah.
Look, I'm not opposed to being sponsored. If you send free food, I will talk about it.
Free food is good. Free food is good. I don't mind free food. Let's continue to talk about some of these free agents that we've got that have signed. Who were some more marquee ones that caught your eye? What the hell are the Raiders doing to their offensive line, man? I know they brought Richie Incognito back today, right? Yep. But I mean, they literally said, we got the best offensive line in football. Not good enough. Let's dismantle it. What were your thoughts? I mean, night and day from what we looked at and we saw, last week.
Yeah, I certainly think they had a top 5 offensive line. Really, really talented. Mm-hmm. They shipped off Trent Brown, and I don't hate it from a cap perspective. I think it's very likely that in either day 1 or day 2 in the NFL draft that the Raiders end up selecting a tackle. This is an incredibly deep tackle draft, and we haven't had this kind of depth at the position in a long time. So I think there's a pretty good chance that the Raiders select a right tackle to be able to bring in and replace Trent Brown. Man, Rodney Hudson is just such an incredible center. Pass blocking, he has been the best center in the last 5 years. And it's not like, you could say it's Rodney Hudson, and then it's everybody else. So the fact that they traded him to Arizona for a third-round pick is it's really interesting to me, because I think Gruden's mentality is always gritty, and they win hard-nosed football. They're going to run the ball down their throat, and the Gruden grinders, and that's what John Gruden does.
Guys, sorry to cut you off. Guys, we're going to get back to we're going to talk more and more about Bengals talk as the show goes on. Towards the end of the show, me and Cody will circle back around to some more Bengals talk. We'll continue, Cody. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're good. So the offensive line situation there is it's interesting, because I feel that goes against Gruden's philosophy. So I would think that they would have some sort of plan there, but it is shocking to see them move. That is a great get by the Arizona Cardinals. Center was a position that they struggled at. They had got so much interior pressure that flushed Kyler Murray out of the pocket. It was apparent to see on film. You could see it and Cliff Kingsbury runs those wide open schemes, right? A lot of 4 or 5 wide. Okay. So it's something where you need that interior of your offensive line to be solid, and they anchored that. That is going to propel Arizona's offense. I think that is a bigger get for that offense than AJ Green, and I don't think it's close.
Listen, at this point, I love AJ Green. I love everything. The guy is a class act.
Oh, absolutely.
He brought a lot to. What he was. I don't know. I think he's he's entering towards the final stages of his career, if he's not there already. Somebody asked, right? What was your favorite free agent signing of the NFL so far, Cody?
So I'm a defense guy, played defense in college. And so I've always been a sucker for defense. And there are some teams that need a lot of help this year. And there hasn't been a lot of marquee talent, right? JJ Watt went early. But one of my favorite signings, he left one of the best defenses in the NFL last year. John Johnson III went from LA over to Cleveland.
I can dig that.
That is a position that Cleveland needed some help in last year. Granted, their secondary was absolutely beat up. Grant Delpit was hurt. Greedy Williams was hurt. But there was an absolute hole, and Cleveland filled it perfectly. Johnson really does a great job covering sideline to sideline. He's not a big run stopping safety, right? He's no Jamal Adams, nothing like that. No. But for what they needed a guy to cover the top end of that defense, so they didn't get beat. And they got exactly that, and they didn't have to break the bank to get him, right? The Browns have a lot of cap. They can still continue to make moves. I think that's to me, that's one of my favorite signings, because nobody's going to talk about it, but you're going to see it on the field.
It was underrated. It was definitely underrated. I'm not sure if I necessarily have a favorite free agent signing. And I'm not just saying this, I really liked William Jackson to the Washington football team. I was happy for him. I think they got a phenomenal talent. People are going to laugh. I like Griffin, right? I don't want to butcher his name. It's Shaquille, right? Shaquille. Yep. I always mix him and his brother up. Shaquille, I love that Shaquille went to Jacksonville. I think he sort of fits what they're going to try to do over there. I think those were my 2 favorite free agent signings if I absolutely had to pick. But I'll tell you which one I didn't understand. Bud Dupree, man. Bud Dupree cashing in with the Tennessee Titans. I didn't know how I felt about that too much. I said, guy coming off an ACL injury, albeit he's a guy that he flashed, right? What did he have? Like 10 sacks the year before last. He had 10 plus sacks the year before last, albeit. But here's the thing. Essentially, when you pay Bud Dupree what they paid him, right? You got to ask yourself the question, is Bud Dupree capable of being pass rusher 1? Now, the Tennessee Titans, they obviously needed to, upgrade their pass rush. They had guys like Jadeveon Clowney last year. What's the other guy's name? The former first round pick. I'm drawing a blank on his name. You know who I'm talking about, though. They cut him. They cut him, right? He played for the Falcons. Vic Beasley. They had Vic Beasley.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
To me, this seems like a desperation move. It seems like a desperation move.
Yeah, I see. There are things that like kind of surprise me, like when teams go and they make the same mistake twice, because I feel like you don't see that very often. And Tennessee went out and they signed a, guy who's done it in Vic Beasley, but he underperformed. So then they went out and they shelled big money for Jadeveon Clowney, who didn't perform. So now they're going to shell big money, who was never to Bud Dupree, who was never the number one pass rusher on his own team, right? Because JJ Watt was always has always been superior on that defense, and was in an incredibly friendly scheme in Pittsburgh where the rest of that defense, complemented him incredibly well.
Agreed.
So you go to Tennessee, who got destroyed, decimated on third down last year. They were the worst third down team in football.
Nice to them.
They were terrible.
They were atrocious. They were atrocious.
Terrible. And it's what killed them in the playoffs. They couldn't stop Lamar Jackson on third and short.
Playoffs.
Right? So they went out and they got Bud Dupree. I get it. That's not the solution to fixing your it's a piece.
Do not say that too loud. They may, Titans fans may they wholeheartedly disagree with you, man.
No, they're like, come at me with that Southern twang, I tell you.
Oh, my God. They're upset. Listen, some were excited. Some were upset. For those that were upset, I certainly understand it. Vic Beasley, to me, I don't know. I'm not Vic Beasley. I'm sorry. Bud Dupree, to me, I don't know. I know the Bengals were looking at him when he came out of draft. I believe he went to Kansas, right? He played at Kansas.
Kansas.
Kentucky. There he played out. He played at Kentucky. To me, it always seemed like a cleanup guy to me. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, I wish the guy nothing but the best. He's no longer a Steeler, so I can root for his success. Who do you think got the biggest steal of free agency?
Man, steal's an interesting word, right? Because you're looking for value in the contract. And I think a signing that is going to go underrated is the Ravens getting Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah.
He had a down year in New York, but the rest of the offensive line definitely didn't do him any favors. Andrew Thomas was not great in his rookie season. They needed some offensive line help, and quite frankly, they still do. That guard spot last year was a problem for them after Marshall Yanda retired. Marshall Yanda is, in my opinion, one of the best guards we've seen in the 21st century.
Yeah.
He absolutely incredible career. That was a spot that they missed. And the Ravens, if anything, are self-aware. They know exactly who they are.
I agree.
And with the amount of guard pulling that they do, getting Kevin Zeitler to solidify that guard spot, and they sign him for, I think it was 20-some million on a 3-year deal. I would have to double check that, but he got him. He went for less than what I thought he was going to sign for. Absolutely.
So I do want to keep it there, right? I was going to bring up the Patriots. We'll get there. I want to keep it with the guards. Holy hell. Joe Thuney, $80 million, 5 years. My first thought, I couldn't believe that a guard got paid that much money. I certainly understand the intrigue with him, but to me, to play somebody of the, I don't know. I'm still at a loss for words for the fact that Joe Thuney got paid $80 million. He's a phenomenal player. He's a great player.
Yep.
But to me, I just think that how I feel about tight ends. You know how I feel about how I feel about these players. My stance on it could be a little bit jaded, but I'll be the first one to tell you. I think that when you're paying an offensive guard that top tier money like that, you're basically essentially saying, we're good, right? We're in win now mode. Certainly the Kansas City Chiefs are one of the few teams that can say, hey, we're in win now mode, right? We win a Super Bowl. We went to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. We're in a position where we can spend at a ridiculous rate for a guy like Joe Thuney. But to me, still just seeing the numbers on it, man. I mean, they're getting up there with the tackles. They're getting up there with the tackles, man.
Don't get me wrong. The guards, guards play an incredibly important role.
Absolutely.
But the Chiefs lost both of their bookend tackles that have solidified that offensive line for the last several years. They cut Eric Fisher, who, quite frankly, he was not going to be a help to them in 2021 regardless, because he tore his Achilles in the AFC Championship game or very, very late in the season. And then Mitchell Schwartz at right tackle. So I understand who may retire, right?
Yeah.
But either way, they lost two of their bookend tackles. And I expect them to address that position in the draft. Again, we're going to talk about this all the way leading up to it, but very deep tackle draft. I'm surprised that they signed a guard that much. I think there are very few guards in the league who are worth that kind of money. I think Quentin Nelson is going to be the highest paid guard in the league next year when he gets his contract extension. But yeah, that one was a little puzzling to me. And speaking of incredible offensive line money, Trent Williams got the bag from San Francisco.
I love David Bakhtiari's response today. He said, "Trent Williams, you're petty. You're petty." I mean, because their contracts were literally right down to the dot, and then literally just like what a few dollars difference, so to speak. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
They negotiated it so that Trent Williams' salary or total contract was $10,000 more than David Bakhtiari's, so that he could be the highest paid offensive lineman. That's why I said you're petty. That is so petty, and I love it. I love it.
I didn't mind. I didn't. Trent, but listen, 6 years. 6 years.
See, that's the most shocking thing to me because the guy's 31 already, 32.
Right. 32.
So it's shocking to me. Now, he did take a year off, right? So maybe a little less wear and tear on the body. And we've seen offensive tackles who have been able to play late into their careers, right? Andrew Whitworth is a guy doing it right now. We've seen, he is a incredible offensive tackle.
Agreed.
6 years?
6 years.
He could.
A lot can happen in 6 years. A lot can happen in 6 years. Regardless, they have it there. Stellar tackle, a position they don't have to worry about for the next at least 4, right? Mm-hmm. Great. I think he was my best player available in free agency. Agreed. I think Trent Williams is undoubtedly the best tackle in football. I think that's me personally why I love the idea of Penei Sewell coming to Cincinnati, because man, oh man, you want a guy that's a bookend guy. You want a guy that's can protect your quarterback for 10, 15 plus years, right? Trent Williams to me is just like, he's out of this world. He's different, man. He's otherworldly, right? You watch him play, you just know, like he took a year off. He instantly came back and was the best tackle in football. PFF had him rated as the highest rated tackle in football this year. It's just, some guys are just physically dominant, physically gifted, and are just that good at their craft. And I certainly see that with
he has the personality that he is going to beat you on every single play. And you get, when you watch him, watching him play football, he goes out and tries to obliterate linebackers and defensive. He tries to wipe you off of the field. It's like Michael Orr blindside, where he blocks the guy back to the bus.
The blindside.
Yeah. It's that is the way that he blocks. He will block you into the ground. He will block through you. It's awesome to watch. I'm a big fan of the trenches, but man, I think that's a great signing and the biggest splash or the biggest dollar sign we'll see in free agency.
So Curtis Samuel got 3 years, $34.5 million. That's a good deal. It's a good deal.
It's a good deal. It's a quite a bit of change for a guy who I think is trying to find the right fit yet. I think what excites me there is Curtis Samuel is dynamic in the fact that he's a guy that you have to get the ball into his hands, right? He is a kind of like a Deebo Samuel. You can get it to him on sweeps. You can get him to him on screens. You can get it to him short underneath. He can take the top off the defense. He has that kind of speed. So if they utilize him correctly in Washington, that's going to be a fun team to watch because they're devoid of some offensive talent. Fitzpatrick, if he is the starter going into week one, has been the dude is an absolute gunslinger.
He did it again. He got himself another contract. I was so happy to see that. I said, yes. Go ahead, Fitz.
He has one of the most incredible careers. One of the most incredible careers. He's been.
You know what's even more incredible than his career, though? What's even more incredible than his career is his beard.
Oh, it's beautiful. True. Beautiful. True. I aspire to that.
Cody, you're almost there, man. You're almost. But listen, I want to talk to you about a team that really just raked it up in free agency. The New England Patriots are back, baby. They're back.
Bro, Bill Belichick got his stimulus check, and that dude went nuts. Man.
He said, I got enough money to go around now, right? I mean, this guy literally went out and got Jonnu Smith. My favorite signing for the New England Patriots, people might disagree with me, but they might be like, Jonnu Smith. My favorite signing was Hunter Henry. You know how much of a Hunter Henry fan I am, right? For me being a guy that's like, I don't like drafting tight ends early, I am a big Hunter Henry fan. I think Hunter Henry has a lot of untapped potential, and hopefully that potential gets unlocked. Hopefully it gets unlocked.
Yeah, and I see a lot of like, what is Bill Belichick doing? Like, two tight ends?
I don't get what he's doing.
and I even I've made a couple jokes. He's going to run the wing T or like the Army triple option. Would love to see it with Cam Newton that would be pretty sweet.
You know, Cam Newton is smiling from ear to ear right now.
Has to be.
I mean,
This
is a guy who's literally had his acumen, football acumen, questioned since 2015 for the most part, right?
Yeah.
People have been down on him for a long time. Cam Newton sucks. Cam Newton this. Cam Newton's overrated. This guy's a former league MVP. It would not shock me in one bit if Cam Newton shocks the world and Cam Newton puts it all together.
Yeah, he had an injury-plagued year last year, and had the coronavirus. I do not know how that affected him, and I'm not going to speculate. Right. But this gives him weapons. They also signed Kendrick Bourne. And they signed Nelson Aguilar, which not splashy names, but it's certainly an improvement on the talent he had last year. I'm really excited to see how they use those tight ends because they are two totally different players.
Right.
They're two, and Bill Belichick is quoted talking about how Jonnu Smith is one of the best tight ends he has ever seen with the ball in his hands. Right.
He is. He's so good after the run after the catch.
So good after the catch. So I will be very, very interested to see how they scheme those two tight ends because they are two totally different players. And I think now the immediate go-to is everybody is going to compare Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski, right? That's going to be the go-to. They played in the same jersey, right?
Can I say it? Well, you can say it. You can say it.
You can't compare to that level of great. Gronk is a Hall of Famer and maybe the best tight end to ever put on a jersey. You can't compare that season. And Tom Brady makes a little bit of a difference, right?
I want to talk to. Look at Tristan's comment. He says they went off and they signed guys, but still have holes. Jonnu seems like their mismatch X type receiver. Henry is more baseline tight end. The fact both type tight ends. Listen. With the New England Patriots, you look at every single year where they went all the way and they did what they had to do, right? And they made a Super Bowl. Gabe Jackson just got traded to the Seahawks. Another offensive lineman off the board for our beloved team. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see the.
Do we have the compensation on that?
Yeah, the compensation on that. I don't know, man. I hate seeing the offensive linemen just come off the board and fly off the board, and we're still with Keaton Sutherland.
Look, the Seahawks hate draft capital. They just cannot stand it, so they give it away like candy.
They say no.
But they listened. They did what the Texans should have done. They listened to their franchise quarterback.
Right.
Russell Wilson has complained about the offensive line.
Right.
And they went out and got one of the premier offensive linemen available this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans Deshaun Watson asked the Texans to include him in coaching conversations and just keep him involved in the franchise.
Yeah,
and
let's talk about that.
Do that. So I'm excited to see it's good for Russell Wilson. It's good for the Seahawks. Let's keep everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
More
the merrier. Yep. So let's keep that going, right? We're talking about the quarterbacks, guys, for those who just joined us here. We're talking about the quarterbacks, right? We're talking about the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, and let's talk about talk about Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. Do you see either one of these guys getting traded? I personally don't see Russell getting traded. I potentially see Deshaun Watson getting traded.
Yeah,
I
Russell's
think the closer we get. Yeah, I think the closer we get to this thing, the more and more we see a potential trade happen.
Yeah, I fully think Deshaun Watson will not play football for the Houston Texans. Now, whether or not he gets traded, I think is going to be a dicey call.
Right.
But they went out and signed Tyrod Taylor. You paid him $12 million. That's not for no reason. I think the Texans are slowly coming to the realization that Deshaun might not be wearing their jersey next year. So that is a free agent signing to me that says a lot more than what, the big flashy signing that, could have been. It speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So
listen,
see. There's a lot higher chance. I think there is a non-zero chance that Deshaun Watson plays in Carolina.
You think
I think that is the most likely destination. I think they have some of the best capital to go out and get him, right? They draft in the top 10 this year.
Mm-hmm.
They have the cap room.
Some of these comments we got coming up here. I just want to touch on this real quickly because that's kind of what we do at the show, guys. We talk. We have a gist of topics we're going to talk about. Then we respond to your questions and things of that nature, and we get into it. Guys, relax. There's a lot of free agent offensive linemen still out there. Relax. Take a deep breath. There's a former Pro Bowler named Trey Turner out there who turns 28, 27 in a few months. There's another Pro Bowler who's coming off of a year where he didn't play because of COVID, and Larry Warford. Relax. There's another guy, Brian Winters. There's another guy who played for us last year and didn't play bad either. There are options. Dave Andrews is still available.
David Andrews for New England.
There are guys still available. Relax. They're relaxed. The market's going to calm down. Things are going to fall into place. The Bengals are not going to not address the offensive line. Smile, be happy. Pray for Kenny Galladay. Let's enjoy it. It's good. It's free agency. I like it.
Yeah, teams are they're like, hey, we need it right away. We need it right away. We like the fans. They want it. They want news the day that it happens. I get it.
Whoa, Pat Pete to the Vikings. What are you talking about? Did this actually just happen? Perennial Pro Bowler Patrick Peterson has reached an agreement on a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. Wow. Look at that.
With the Minnesota Vikings. That is.
You pair Patrick Peterson with defensive mastermind. Mike, Mike Zimmer? I like
Mike Zimmer, yeah.
I like it. I don't mind
Harrison Smith helping him at safety. I mean, they certainly needed some corner help, right? The Vikings got burned all year long at corner. That's an interesting signing to me. I'm interested to see how Patrick Peterson does. I think he still has some gas left in the tank. Obviously, he's not the former otherworldly Patrick Peterson that he was early in his career, but I mean, the
fifth round pick for Gabe Jackson. Ugh. Crazy.
Wow.
Craziness.
Wow. Yeah, that is kind of shocking.
Yeah.
That is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Listen, yeah. But back to what we were saying. You were saying you see Deshaun. You think Deshaun Watson's played his last snap. I certainly think that the Tyrod Taylor move wasn't just a move to make. A lot like my subliminal tweets. They don't just happen, right? There's a reason behind everything, and there's a reason why they brought in Tyrod Taylor. There's a reason why the head coach is a little bit mum on Deshaun Watson. So all the while it might not be in their plans to trade him, it's not in his plans to stay. So it's going to be interesting. So
Absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
Listen, a lot more to unpack with free agency in the coming days, and who knows? Maybe me and Cody might throw a show at you guys, another show at you guys as things continue to happen. Maybe people are asking. We got a lot of Bengal fans in the comments, Cody. They want your expertise, Cody. They want to know what do you think the Bengals should do in free agency? Let's
There's a big difference between what they will do and what they should do. Right?
Yeah.
The Bengals signings so far have been good. I think they've been good. I don't think they've been splashy like what a lot of Bengals fans wanted, right? They wanted Joe Tooney. They wanted Carl Lawson back. They wanted William Jackson. Mike Hilton's a very solid slot player that Lou can utilize all over that field.
Yeah.
He's a nice piece. He's certainly a nice piece. I think the corner that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name from Dallas that we signed, he's young. He is
Chidobe Awuzie. One of my favorite players. Chidobe Awuzie is a guy I've been in on for so long. Chidobe Awuzie, and I've heard so many people pronounce his name wrong, but Chidobe Awuzie. Chidobe Awaz. It's Chidobe Awuzie.
Chidobe Awuzie. I got it, and that's not locked in the bolt. He's been beaten a couple times, but the talent is certainly there. Yeah. The talent is certainly there, and if he can take that next step, he can certainly be a starting corner in this league and a very good one. So I think that is a signing, and they didn't have to shell out the bank to get him, right? So we still have room to go out and get some offensive linemen, right? To maybe go and make a splash and get Kenny Galladay.
Well, I know for a fact the Bengals have been in contact with Riley Reif, so that'll be interesting. That's an interesting one for those of you who were interested in some names. Yeah, so I don't know what that move does for me, if it even happens, but it's somebody they've been in contact with, so I'm okay as long as you're.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Reif played right tackle last year, correct? So if we sign a right tackle, where does that leave us with the number 5 pick? Do we go?
Means nothing. Listen. Penei Sewell's on the board. Penei Sewell is the best offensive tackle in the NFL draft. No matter what people tell you, they'll say Rashawn Slater, they'll say blah, this person, that person. No, it's Sewell. That's the best. Listen, at this point in Riley Reif's career, what is he, 30-something? Some odd. He's on the back end of the wrong side of 30. He could be a backup. He could be a backup. He'll be fine. Be a depth signing. And Jonah Williams will probably move over to right tackle. Penei will move over to left tackle, and we'll be happy. Bobby Hart gets, we'll be happy. Everything will be happy. Everything is good. There's a lot more to play out, guys. There's still a lot of talent out there. I think a lot of people lost their minds when they saw Joe Tini come off the board, when they saw Carl Lawson leave Cincinnati.
Yeah, the expectations are a fickle beast because they can build you up, they can also cut you down really quickly. So
been there.
But we have expectations, right? So I'm excited for the rest of this culmination of free agency because we're going to have more to talk about. Don't you worry about that. We are going to have more to talk about.
I'm super excited. Listen, Cody, you're much more of the basketball guy than I am here when it comes to March Madness. You've been raving about it. You've been texting me nonstop about it. I know you're pretty pumped. Cody, let me ask you this. What was your biggest surprise of this past weekend?
So, man, we had a lot of college conference championships this past weekend. And for those of you who don't follow college basketball closely, it was different. It was different in a lot of ways. And when you fill out your bracket this year, you're going to go through it and you're going to go, where's Duke? Where's Louisville? Where's Kentucky?
Right.
How is UNC at 8 or 9? Like what? So a lot of the Blue Buds have regressed a little bit this year, and it has allowed for my favorite thing in the college basketball world, which is absolute pandemonium and chaos. So it's exciting. It's exciting, man. Illinois winning in overtime against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. We had last second shot not go in for LSU, and they lose the SEC championship to Alabama of all teams. So, and Alabama's a phenomenal team. We have Arkansas making noise in the SEC. Teams that we don't normally hear from in March are going to make a lot of noise, and I am super excited. So, Malik, I'm gonna go through I have my final four, right? And I got a handful of teams that I really think can win it all. So
let's hear it.
I'm gonna start with the 1 seed and my 101, right? Gonzaga, undefeated year. They have not played some of the competition that some of these other teams have in because of their conference.
Right.
But Gonzaga is good. They have 3-4 NBA caliber players on that roster. They are very, very talented, and they are right now the odds-on favorite to win the title. So I have them going into the Final Four from the West, right? I have them playing Oregon in the Elite Eight. So that'll be interesting. The 1 seed in the East, Michigan, I think they get bounced early. They're banged up.
Why is that?
They're banged up. Their point guard's hurt. That they didn't make it to the Big Ten championship. Mm-hmm. Michigan's been a hot and cold team. Their center, big dude, is incredibly skilled. But I think them being down a guard, guard play wins in when it comes to tournament time. Good guard play, you can't turn the ball over, and you need to be able to facilitate an offense, right? Because everything gets tighter. Everything gets tighter in the tournament. And they play a 16 seed. I don't think they get bounced round one. I mean, it's happened one time in the history of the tournament, but I'm not a fan of Michigan. So my Final Four team out of the East is Texas and Shaka Smart. And we've seen Shaka Smart take tournament teams to the Final Four before at VCU with not near the amount of talent. And for the NFL fans out there, Mo Alley Cox, the Colts, played for Shaka Smart at VCU. Love Shaka Smart. I think he gets the most out of his players. I think that they end up in the Final Four from the East, right? So we're going to go south. North Carolina is an 8 seed, right? Villanova, who's been a staple of the tournament the last decade, is a 5 seed. The 1, 2, and 3 are Baylor, Ohio State, and Arkansas. Mm-hmm. There are some really, really talented teams in this bracket.
Right.
But Baylor is so athletic. They are so athletic. They are so unbelievably long. I think that they have what it takes to really take the next step. They dominated in the Big 12 all year. That'll be an exciting bracket. I have a lot of upsets on that side, in that quadrant of the bracket. So that one will be super exciting. And then the Midwest, Illinois is in my opinion, the best team in the tournament. I think they are getting hot at the right time. I think they have played some of the tougher teams. I think the Big Ten is the best conference in basketball right now.
Okay.
And I mean, you can see that they got the 1 seed Michigan, they got 1 seed Illinois, they have 2 seed Iowa, 2 seed Ohio State. The Big Ten they've played more competition, and that's going to mean more this year than it ever has because of the conference only schedules, because of the reduced schedules and how guys have gone. But they've played against some of the premier talent too. Washington at an Ohio State is a phenomenal scorer. They've played against Luka Garza and beat him, right? Luka Garza is one of the premier talents, the big man, the 7-footer at Iowa. You're going to hear his name called a lot in this tournament, but Illinois is so unbelievably talented. They have the guard play they don't turn the ball over. They run with pace. They have an unbelievable scoring tandem. And Coffee Coburn, who people are going to learn about Coffee Coburn this tournament. Last name is hilariously spelled, but Coffee is he is the bruiser. Like when you picture the Monstars and you see that guy, he's 7 foot, 6'11", just built like a refrigerator. That is Coffee Coburn, and he is fun to watch. So I have Illinois making the Final Four there. So my Final Four, I got Illinois, Gonzaga, Texas, and Baylor. I have Illinois and Gonzaga in the final, and I have Illinois taking home the national title.
So that means if I ask you, hey, Cody, set my parlay this week, you have no problem with doing that.
Okay, so you want picks for this week? Yeah, there are some games, and I am super excited. So I'm just going to highlight my favorites, right? Because 32 games this coming weekend in round 1, plus, the 16 in the round of 32. So my 12 over the 5, right, happens every year. Creighton is just not up there. I don't think that they really deserved that 5 seed. And I think UCSB has the talent. But it's more about Creighton here. That's my 12-5 upset. USC is going to Wichita State or Drake, whoever gets there. USC is going to destroy them. There is nobody who can match up with Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is going to be, and I think he is going to be the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft. He is a incredibly long center, but incredibly skilled with the basketball. We haven't seen a guy who can score at the center position in college like he has in a long time. He defends well. He is unbelievably talented. I think USC walks whoever they end up playing. They don't have a line out yet for that game because there is the playing game. But whatever it is, I'm taking USC. That is going to be an incredible, incredible game. I think Oregon absolutely stomps VCU. I think right now they are a 6.5 point favorite. I think Oregon dominates that game. Oregon has, when you look at Oregon, right, you see that they are a 7 seed. They are significantly better than a 7 seed.
Right.
They were decimated by COVID. They were decimated by injuries. They came together towards the end of this year. And watching them towards the end of the season and in conference play, they were awesome, awesome, awesome to watch. So I love Oregon. I love Oregon in the round of 64, right? LSU over St. Bonaventure. I think that is a very close line. LSU.
Don't let Tom Sipe hear you say that. He's a big Bonnie's guy.
Bonnies have been a fun team to watch. LSU was hot. They took Alabama to the wire. I think that Will Wade recruiting violations and all.
Did you just see you just saw the thing I just mentioned?
Look, Malik, I don't know how you know what you know. You have your hands in every cookie jar amongst the Cincinnati organization, and you don't even live there. I mean, I am just fascinated with how you do what you do, but man, you're good at it. You're good at it. You're the best. All right. Now that I'm done kiss assing, right? I think so. There is a playing game on Thursday for 2 of like the teams that you see every year in Michigan State. You see UCLA. It's crazy to see this game as a play-in game because normally this would be like an incredibly heightened matchup. I like Michigan State in this one. And I think Michigan State has a chance to like actually go and beat a couple teams here. They beat a lot of the most talented teams to finish off their conference play. Right. So I am going to have to look this up because it's going to drive me wild. But they're going to be Izzo. Izzo is phenomenal in March. I don't know what his percentage is, but it's incredible. And he has his guys playing well at the right time. I think that is my 11 over the 6. Love that in round 1. And the rest of that, the left side of the bracket's kind of Okay. Villanova 12-5 is an interesting. Winthrop can score. Winthrop can run the ball up and down the court. Villanova is hurt. We'll see how much do you believe in Jay Wright? And that's what it's going to come down to. Phenomenal coaching. Arkansas Colgate, if you like points, if you are hey, I like watching teams score a lot, this game might be 100-100. Like this might be an NBA score. It is going to be ridiculous. Colgate can score. They have the number 1 scorer in the country right now. And Arkansas runs the floor. The must-bust Brent Musselman is a phenomenal coach. I love the way they play basketball. Their mantra is like they have to have like X amount of pass. When you pass the ball a certain amount of times, that leads you to winning games. They move the ball like crazy. Super fun to watch. Very excited for that game. Ton of points are going to be scored. Ohio State, Oral Roberts, another points game. Going to be awesome. Malik, what do you got?
I listen, my best advice would be take Cody's advice. I'm not a big college basketball guy, but I've done okay. That's because I listen to Cody. Cody won me some money. So I'll keep listening to Cody as it pertains to college basketball and March Madness as we lead up to the tournament. Is there anything else you want to add before we jump to the next
one more game? We got one more game, and this is more for you NBA guys. Oklahoma State is playing Liberty, right? Then Oklahoma State is going to have the opportunity to play, I believe, Tennessee. Cade Cunningham is the best player in college basketball. He is a 6'7", 6'8" guard, unbelievably smooth. He is going to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Fun to watch. Give him a look if you are going to absorb the beauty that is college basketball. And I'm going to be giving out a ton of picks. If you want to see my full bracket, I'm going to be putting that on Twitter tomorrow as well. So give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Smash Hit Sports. I am excited. Noah Hicks, if Cody is half as on as Malik has been, you're going to be a millionaire. Look, Malik, you've been hot, man. You've been hot in the gambling world. So, this is one of my favorite gambling weekends of the year. A lot of fun and a lot of basketball. So, Malik? You said we're going to loop back around. What do we got?
So UFC, right? We want to touch on UFC really quickly. They announced my big fight. The big fight, and I say my big fight because it's something I've been hammering the table for. Something I've been smiling ear to ear about. I'm very, very happy to announce that TWSN is planning to be covering UFC 261. Usman versus Masvidal 2. The first one wasn't really anything. Right? It was a fight that was put together to save a card, and now we have the real deal. This is the real deal in my eyes. I am not going to bore you guys. Those of you guys who watch the show each and every single week, you know what I always say, and I'm going to continue to say it. Masvidal is going to decapitate Kamaru Usman. Jorge Masvidal will be the welterweight champion of the UFC. And I am going to win a lot of money that night because Usman, as it stands right now, is the heavy betting favorite. And I'm okay with that because the more it's in Usman's odds, the better it is for me because it's going to be shock to a lot of people. And I've said it week in and week out. The reason why Jorge Masvidal is going to win this fight is because I do not believe that Usman is going to fight him the same way he fought him last time. I'm ready for that. That's all I have to say. Cody, you have anything you want to add?
Look, Masvidal is going to baptize him into the shadow realm. I'm excited
this.
That we've been waiting for this fight to be announced. That is going to be one I'm going to be glued to the television for.
Right. All right. Well, guys, this was pretty much like a quick show that we had planned for you guys. Me and Cody, we're going to talk more. We probably throw another show at you guys as more free agency news breaks. Maybe for like our Bengal crowd, we'll talk some more free agency. What do you think, Cody? Something you think we should do?
Look, I'm absolutely down. Right? If we're talking Bengals, we're talking free agency, we're talking football. I am in, and it's always moving. It's always moving, and I love doing our show once a week. But man, the news. It's always going. So I would be down to do another show, and make sure you give us a follow on the old Twitter and Instagram. So
subscribe to the YouTube channel, TWSN, right? Just hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow Cody on Twitter. Cody at Smash Hit Sports. He's a great guy, great follow. If you guys follow me, you should continue to follow me. I appreciate all the support I've been getting this past week or two. It's going to be exciting. A lot more exciting news to happen. A lot more fun stuff to talk about as the week continues to kick off. Today was a wild day for us Bengals fans. Oh, yeah. And I have a funny feeling it's going to get even wilder. So, guys, with that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us each and every single week on the Game Changer Show, the most exciting show here at the Right Way Sports Network. Catch us every single Wednesday night. Cody and I are always bringing stuff to you. We're always talking. We love talking shop with you guys. Hit me up in the DMs. A lot of you guys have been really, really active in the DMs on Twitter. Hit me up. Ask me questions. Follow us. Links down in the description. But until then, guys, we'll see you next week live on the Game Changers. Thanks.
The marathon continues. The Mamba mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind.